Admiral Richardson and Admiral Greenert, and they'll introduce themselves. So once we get the remarks going, they'll give 2 short statements and then take a couple questions. And we're here to talk to you about an incident that took place in Charleston, and we'd like to stick to that if possible. And fire away, and I'll point out who's going to ask the questions as well. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Danny. Good afternoon, and thanks for having us this afternoon. I'm Admiral John Greenert, the Chief of Naval Operations, and I have with me the Director for Navy Nuclear Propulsion, Admiral John Richardson. We're here to discuss allegations of cheating on a written qualification exam at one of our nuclear training commands. We learned about this yesterday evening. We were alerted of the incident, and it took place in Charleston, South Carolina, at our Navy Nuclear Propulsion Command there. The propulsion exam was allegedly shared amongst some senior enlisted operators. And Admiral John Richardson here, he will speak more about the details of the incident and where we are so far. To say that I'm disappointed would be an understatement whenever I hear about integrity issues. It's disruptive to our unit's success, and it's definitely contrary to all of our core values, our Navy core values, and it affects the very basis of our ethos. The foundation of our conduct throughout the Navy is integrity. We expect more from our sailors, especially our senior sailors, and we demand it in our training and in our operations, and we will operate to that. The incident, I underline, does not represent the hundreds of thousands of professional sailors who are operating with honor and integrity throughout our fleet today. We set high expectations within our Navy, particularly this program, the Navy Nuclear Propulsion Program. It has 5 decades of distinguished service, and it is all founded on integrity. Our sailors are held to a standard, a very high standard, and this will not change. So I assure you, if these allegations are substantiated, we will hold the appropriate sailors, the appropriate people accountable. We will remain vigilant throughout the program, as we have been, as I said, for 5 decades. We'll learn from this, and we'll do a case study, and we'll train on it. John, over to you, and then we'll take some questions.
Thank you, CNO. And as the CNO said, I'm Admiral John Richardson, the Director of Naval Reactors. As such, I have cradle-to-grave responsibility for the Navy's nuclear propulsion program. And as this incident involves my program, I take full responsibility for this incident. This is mine to investigate and to correct. I was made aware of this situation yesterday on 3 February when one of our sailors from the Nuclear Power Training Unit in Charleston, South Carolina, was offered to compromise his integrity, recognized that this was wrong, and reported it to the command. While I can't provide much more information at this time due to the ongoing investigation, I will keep you as fully informed as possible. We intend to be as transparent as possible as we work our way through this. Thank you, and I'm happy to be answering any questions that I can, subject to the understanding that there is an active investigation going on.
Lolita?
Admiral, for both of you, I was just wondering, one, if you could maybe clarify a couple of more details. Did this involve emailing questions or answers to the staff, and did it also involve any violation possibly of classified material or access to classified material? And then secondly, as you know, the Air Force has had some cheating issues also within part of their nuclear force, and their comments have been that they worry that it's systemic and that this is a broad morale problem that involves people who were cheating because they felt the need to get 100% because it affected their promotions. I'm wondering if you could address whether those are also among some of your concerns.
With respect to the exams themselves and the nature of what we're talking about, most of that will be more fully developed in the investigation. But it's fair to say that these exams and the operation of the plants do involve classified information, and that'll be an active part of the investigation to fully understand that. With respect to the morale, and the necessity to pass these exams in order to advance, that's not really a dimension of our program. We do not have that kind of 90% and above type of dynamic in our program. Our exam program is different than the one that you mentioned for the Air Force, and so we don't really see that being a dynamic here. But again, you know, as I said, my team is on board to make sure that we've properly bound this. We're taking nothing for granted right now.
Lolita, Admiral Richardson and I grew up in the same program, the Navy Nuclear Propulsion Program. A foundation within it is examination and re-examination, oral and written, as well as demonstration of proficiency. So what I'm saying is it is in the ethos, if you will, it is in the process that folks are used to getting examined and qualified in there. Therefore, I don't perceive, as Admiral Richardson said, that there's an element of you have to get the highest grade because we're constantly evaluating and self-assessing ourselves within this program.
David?
How many, sorry, if you mentioned this, excuse me, but how many sailors have been decertified? And could you tell us a little more about how this came to light? You said one sailor had been encouraged to join in. It sounded like a sort of
Right.
group of people who were cheating,
Right.
and he came forward. Did this not come to light because of the review that was ordered by the SecDef in relation to the Air Force?
It did not. We were, of course, you know, looking very hard at ourselves, as we always do. So I hope a theme that emerges here is that, you know, there is a climate of introspection, of looking for problems and solving them when we're small. So we are constantly assessing ourselves. This did not come forward as a consequence of that ongoing thing. This was a sailor who, you know, has been fully trained from the moment he enters boot camp that integrity is a foundation of our Navy's operations, and including the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program. He recognized when he was asked to join in that that's not consistent with those values, and mentioned it to the command.
And how many have been decertified?
It's really, we're still bounding that problem, and so I'm hesitant to give you a number right now because I don't have a final number, but we conservatively estimate that this is probably less than 1% of the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Force.
So that would be roughly?
So we have 16,000 sailors in the program. In Charleston, it's roughly, it's a few hundred in
get you that
Charleston.
number
We'll
real
get you the
quickly
exact
right after.
number, yeah.
We'll provide
But we're
that to
talking
the
about a
Navy
dozen or
desk.
so, aren't we? You say 1%, it's like 16, so a dozen, less than 20, is that what you're talking about?
That's the ballpark figure, but again, I hesitate to commit to that because we're still in the very early, we're only 24 hours into this.
Olga?
Hi, I wanted to ask about how some of these, this incident and the repercussions of it might disrupt potential budget decisions in a constrained environment for subs and carriers, and if there, you know, might be a need identified to fund some more of these internal and external investigations.
Well, I don't think it'll affect budgetary decisions. As Admiral Richardson explained, we are constantly evaluating ourselves, especially within this program. We, in fact, have our Navy IG, John has asked that team to take a look at our nuclear propulsion examining and training process. That examination has been going on how long, John?
About 4 months.
About 4 months. And so finding things like this occasionally, as he's mentioned, it happened 4 years ago on a vessel. So I don't want to trivialize it. This is very serious, but these are the things that we are very vigilant for. We need to learn from, understand the case study, and get in and train about. So I don't see it right now as being something that will have a budgetary ramification. But if there is any need to fund additional evaluations, and we'll figure that out, we'll fund that. This is very important to me.
Jennifer Griffin?
What will be the consequences for those who are found to be guilty of being involved in this?
I think that that's a case-by-case evaluation. We generally are pretty forceful about holding people accountable, and so as you know, the investigation continues and we can determine you know, the level of culpability, the level of misconduct, then we'll evaluate that on a case basis.
Would it be safe to say that if you're caught cheating, you would be kicked out of the Navy, or what's the upper end of punishment?
That's certainly removed from the program, and then you know, if our history is that if you are caught in an integrity violation, you're removed from the program and generally onto out of the Navy.